So a rational number is a number that can be expressed as the quotient of two integers where the divisor is not 0. What does quotient mean? Okay, an answer to a division question. And what's an integer again?
Negative or positive number including 0.
Good. Negative or positive whole numbers. So we know that a rational number can be positive or negative. Let's look at an example. So we can have 28 over, let's make this negative, 29. This is an example of a rational number. Can you express this as a decimal? Okay, so we're going to take the numerator, positive 28, and divide it by negative 29. A positive divided by a negative is negative. What's 28 divided by 29? 0.9655. Would positive 28 divided by negative 29 be the same as negative 28 divided by positive 29? You're still dividing 28 divided by 29. We're still doing that. Is there a difference between having a positive divided by a negative or a negative divided by a positive? No. It's still going to give you a negative, 0.9655. Okay, so again, we have negative 2 divided by 3, positive 3. A negative and a positive makes a, and what's 2 divided by 3? 0.6 repeating. Is B the same or different? We have positive 2 divided by negative 3. Again, we have a positive and a negative. A positive and a negative makes a negative. Because there's a negative sign here, well, some of you are probably saying, oh, well, where do I include the negative, for the numerator or the denominator? This just indicates that the number, the fraction, the rational number, is a negative number. So this is actually negative, and then what's 2 divided by 3? 0.6 repeating. It's a negative number. If you see negative 2 divided by negative 3, we know the answer is going to be positive because two negatives make a positive. So this is actually different from A, B, and C. It does not represent the same thing. So if you see the negative sign in front of the number, you only apply it to either the numerator or the denominator, as you can see here and here. Express 3 over negative 2 as a decimal. What is this equal to? Yep. Negative 1.5. What about B? Positive 1.5. Good, because we have a negative divided by a negative, and then just 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. So B and C represent the same thing. Why is A different? Yep. Good. There's only one negative here. So positive divided by negative is a negative. One strategy is to turn both of these rational numbers into a decimal. How would you turn this into a decimal? What's one way you did this? One method is to change them into an improper fraction. So what is negative 1 3/10 as an improper fraction? Don't forget that your decimal should be negative, right? This indicates that the number is negative. So we're actually going to do 10 times 1. 10, so positive 10 plus 3 is 13 over 10. We have to include this negative. This is a negative number, so you wouldn't do negative 10 plus 3 because you wouldn't get the same answer, right? It's 10 plus 3, which is 13, but we know that this is a negative number. So what would negative 1 2/5 be as an improper fraction? Grant? Good. Negative 7 over 5. Okay, so this is one way, and then what would you do next to compare them? What's one thing you could do here? So then you would turn them into a decimal? Okay, this is one strategy. Who'd turn them into a decimal next? So what is negative 13 over 10 as a decimal? Negative 1.3, and negative 7 over 5 as a decimal? Negative 1.4. What are some other strategies? What could you have done here instead? Okay, let's find a common denominator. What denominator do they have in common? 10. Okay, so we're going to multiply this by 2. And it becomes, let's just write it over here, negative 14 over 10. Okay, it might be easier for you to compare negative 13 over 10 and negative 14 over 10. Do all of these represent the exact same thing? Yes, we're just showing different representations of this rational number. Okay, so we can leave this as a mixed number, but we can find a common denominator for the other one, leaving it as a mixed number. So what did you get? Multiply this by 2, right? What did you get? Negative 1 and 4/10. Good. Does this also represent the same thing as this? Yes. Because both of these are negative integers, negative 1.3 will actually be closer to 0, right? And the closer you get to 0, the greater it is. So if you had greater than, your answer was correct.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.